Alright, today we're looking at baseball in Ireland. Last week it was baseball in the UK, and that may have left you wondering about baseball on the island just to the west. You might guess that due to its close proximity, and the fact that it used to be a part of the UK, that the history of baseball in Ireland would follow a similar path. That is, rising to become a big sport in the country, then declining to near non-existence, and then making a comeback in recent years. Or you might think baseball would have more success in Ireland, since baseball is such a popular sport among Irish Americans. But in both cases, you'd be wrong. The history does start out the same. In 1874, the Boston Red Stockings and the Philadelphia Athletics introduced the sport to Ireland when they played an exhibition game in Dublin, the same two teams that had toured the UK during that time. And that is where the similarities end between baseball in Britain and baseball in Ireland. In the last 2 decades of the 19th century, while clubs and leagues were being formed in Britain, there was no such activity in Ireland. 1879 was the beginning of the Land War, accompanied by a wave of cultural nationalism. Foreign sports were frowned upon in favor of more Irish sports like hurling and Gaelic football. Cricket's popularity also suffered during that time, going from being one of Ireland's top sports to hardly being played at all. Given the situation, it's understandable why the Americans never returned, and there was no effort to popularize the sport. Which is a shame because during the 1880s, Irish immigrants and first-generation Irish Americans made up somewhere between 33 and 41% of professional baseball rosters in the U.S. 24 sons of Irish immigrants who played between 1880 and 1920 are now in the Baseball Hall of Fame. You can only imagine the possibilities for baseball in Ireland if they had been able to use some of that talent. After the first introduction of baseball in 1879, there's no other mention of it until the summer of 1942, when U.S. service members in Belfast formed 2 teams and played in front of 7,500 spectators. More games would follow, but it was only played among the Americans and didn't last beyond the war. The first attempt at organized baseball in Ireland came in 1958 when Clive Butterworth organized and coached a youth team called the Tramore Sea Lions in Waterford County. Soon after, a team was formed in Waterford City, and after that, Butterworth brought the game to Dublin, where a third team was formed. The game appeared to be taking off at the youth level. However, it wasn't long before Butterworth's health went into decline. No one stepped up to carry on his work, and the fledgling league vanished. In 2019, the Clive Butterworth Award was established, given annually to a youth baseball coach in Ireland. Baseball in Ireland didn't really begin until 1995. In that year, a small group of men took up the sport, playing against each other and hoping to field a team for the European B Championships, taking place a year later in neighboring England. This would seem like an unrealistic goal for them. They had just started learning and playing the game, while most European countries had been playing for decades already. But they were fortunate enough to get 2 coaches from Major League International, and their dream became a reality. At the European Championships in 1996, the Irish national team competed for the first time, and their inexperience was on full display. They lost their opener to the Czech Republic 23-2. In their first 4 games, they committed a total of 35 errors, but they managed to win their final game over Yugoslavia. On July 4, 1998, the O'Malley Fields opened in West Dublin. They were Ireland's first baseball fields, funded by former LA Dodgers owner Peter O'Malley. Team Ireland competed once again in the European Championships of 1998 and 2002, picking up wins each time. In 2001, they toured the northeastern United States. The highlight was a match with a local club at Boston's Fenway Park. Around this time, they started adding American players with dual citizenship to their national team roster, and it paid off immediately. They placed 4th at the 2002 European Championships, and 3rd in Pool B in 2004. Presently, the Irish national team is ranked 44th in the world in the most recent WBSC World Rankings. Another baseball field opened in 2015. The International Baseball Center, or IBC, located in Ashbourne, is the country's only baseball field up to international standards. It's host to an annual event, the International Baseball Festival. It was also host venue for the 2018 Pool C qualification for the European Baseball Championship, where Ireland placed first in Pool C, over Greece, Finland, Slovenia, and Norway, to advance to the main championship round. The Irish Baseball League was established in 1997, 1 year after the debut of the national team, and has been going ever since. The number of teams changes, but it's usually around a dozen. There are 2 teams from Northern Ireland, the Belfast North Stars and the Belfast Buccaneers. The North Stars have been around since '96, before the league was founded. They were originally affiliated with baseball in Britain, but are now with Baseball Ireland. Both the North Stars and the Buccaneers play their home games at Heidebank playing fields. The O'Malley Fields are home to the Dublin Spartans and the Dublin City Hurricanes. Both of these teams have had long stretches of success. The Spartans won 8 consecutive league titles from 2006 to 2013. The Hurricanes won 5 in a row from 2015 to 2019. The most recent champions are Mariners Baseball, champions in 2014 and 2020. International Baseball Center is home to the Ashburn Giants Baseball Club. The Cork City Cosmos play at Cork Showgrounds. The Clonus Comets play home games at the Peace Link. Red Rocks Baseball plays at the Sports and Leisure Club in Carrickhill. There's an A-League and a B-League. In 2020, 4 teams competed in A-League: Mariners, Giants, Spartans, and Hurricanes. The Ashburn B-League team is called the Ashburn Stags, and they were B-League champions. Most clubs have both adult and youth teams. Belfast has an additional youth club known as the Belfast Badgers. Sports are big in Ireland, so it's not hard to find young people curious enough to give baseball a try. But one part of the game they all have trouble with is throwing. Ireland is not a cricket country, and none of their major sports involve any throwing, so the practice of luring away athletes from other bat and ball sports can't be relied on here. There are efforts to introduce baseball in primary schools, hopefully leading to the formation of school teams, even if it's only a handful of schools. Andy Leonard was the first player born in Ireland to play professional baseball in the U.S. He debuted in 1871 with the Washington Olympics, and later played in Boston and Cincinnati. P.J. Conlon of Northern Ireland was the only recent Irish-born Major League player. He played just one season, in 2018 for the New York Mets. No player raised in Ireland has come close to reaching the Major League level, and given the current stage of development of baseball in the country, they're probably still several years away from doing so. The MLB London Series in 2019 did not go unnoticed in Ireland. The Irish American Baseball Society and the Irish Baseball Hall of Fame have formally asked Major League Baseball to bring an MLB Series to Dublin. 2 possible venues for this would be Croke Park and Aviva Stadium. Croke Park is an 80,000 capacity stadium used for Gaelic sports. Aviva Stadium seats 50,000 and is used for rugby and football. Both places would need to be checked for suitability before hosting such an event. The International Baseball Festival has been held annually since the International Baseball Center opened in Ashburn in 2015. In this event, the Irish national team has competed against teams from Belgium, Mexico, the Netherlands, Spain, Venezuela, and the USA. A big event for Irish clubs is the Battle for Britain, an annual event that just began in 2019, involving clubs from the UK and Ireland. In the 2019 Battle for Britain, Mariners Baseball took part. Because of increasing interest in this event, the 2021 tournament, taking place at the end of May, will be expanded from 8 to 12 teams, and for the first time will include an 8-team youth tournament. If you want to know more about baseball in Ireland, check my sources listed in the description. Lots to read about there. And you'll find a link to a documentary on Irish baseball called The Emerald Diamond. It was released in 2006, but just uploaded to YouTube recently. It's a great documentary about Irish baseball, mostly about the early days of the national team. I highly recommend it. And that's all for this one. Until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya!